Buenas tardes, Señora Lindemann here. I hope all of you are doing really well. I miss all of you so much. Espero que estén muy bien. Los extraño mucho. Today I'm going to be teaching you how to tell the time in Spanish. Hoy les voy a enseñar cómo decir la hora en español. Now, there are 3 really fun songs on my website. Hay 3 canciones muy divertidas en mi sitio. You can listen to those, check those out. They're a great way to practice telling the time. So be sure to check those out on my website. Now, we are going to review some phrases first. Primero vamos a repasar unas frases. These phrases are going to help us tell the time in Spanish, okay? So again, we're practicing telling time. Todos. Decir la hora. Decir la hora means telling time in Spanish. And we're connecting to our IB unit of how we organize ourselves, cómo nos organizamos, because telling time helps us to stay organized and it helps us to organize our day, organize our lives. So we're connecting to that IB unit of how we organize ourselves. All right, let's go ahead and get started. Empecemos. Go ahead and point to your wrist or point to a clock on the wall and say with me, el reloj. El reloj is a clock or a watch. El reloj. Excelente. Now you can stick your hands out to the side and say with me, ¿Qué hora es? ¿Qué hora es means, what time is it? Todos. ¿Qué hora es? So if you don't know what time it is and you want to ask someone, you would ask, ¿Qué hora es? Muy bien. Now, if it is 1 o'clock, and only if it is 1 o'clock, so hold up a 1 with your fingers, say with me, es la una. Es la una means it is 1 o'clock. Muy bien. Now, if it's any other hour, if it's 2 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 11 o'clock, we say son las, and then we say the number, el número, okay? So if it is 3 o'clock, son las tres. If it's 9 o'clock, son las nueve. Muy bien. Now, something we're adding on, okay, this year is this phrase, esta frase, y media. Say it with me, y media. Media in Spanish literally means half. So we're talking about if it's half past the hour, if it is 5:30 or 10:30 or 2:30, we add that y media at the end. So if it's 2:30, I say son las 2:30. Excelente. All right, so now that we've reviewed our phrases, let's have some fun and practice. Okay, vamos a practicar. Now, you can use a piece of paper or a whiteboard. Pueden usar una hoja de papel o una pizarra. I have a whiteboard with me. So I'm just going to draw a clock. Voy a dibujar un reloj. So I start with a circle, un círculo. Now I'm going to, I have a trick. I write the 12 at the top, 12, the 3, tres, on the right-hand side, the 6 at the bottom, 6, and the 9 on the left-hand side, 9. Now I go ahead and I fill in the other numbers. Okay, so there's my clock, mi reloj. Now I'm going to draw a dot in the middle, okay? And then I'll be drawing my long minute hand and my short hour hand as I draw the time. So I am going to say a time in Spanish and you are going to try to draw the time on your clock. Voy a decir una hora en español. Ustedes van a tratar de dibujar la hora en su reloj. All right, we're going to try to draw it on your clock. So let's start with the first one. Son las 2. Son las 2. Son las 2. So that means it is 2 o'clock. So the short hour hand is pointing toward the 2, and the long minute hand is pointing toward the 12. Excelente. Let's try another one. Son las 6. Son las 6. So go ahead and draw it on your whiteboard or your paper, and let's check it. Son las 6. Muy bien. So the short hour hand is pointing toward the 6, and the long minute hand is pointing toward the 12 because it's 6 o'clock. Son las 6. Okay, let's try another one. Son las 8:30. Son las 8:30. Okay, let's check it. Okay, so I'm going to start with the first part. Son las 8, so I know it's 8 something. Okay, so son las 8. And then I said y media, so that means the 30 minutes past the hour. It's half past the hour. So it's actually 8:30. Son las 8:30. So the short hour hand is pointing toward the 8 and the long minute hand is pointing toward the 6. Excelente. Let's try a couple more of those. Okay. Son las 12:30. Son las 12:30. Son las 12. 12 is 12. So my hour hand is pointing toward the 12. Y media, okay, means 30 minutes after the hour. So my minute hand is pointing toward the 6. Excelente. All right, last one for this one. We're going to try something different. Okay. Son las 4:30. Son las 4:30. Okay. All right. Son las 4. So it's my hour hand is pointing to the 4. Y media. Okay, so my minute hand is pointing toward the 6. Son las 4:30. It is 4:30. Excelente. Great job. Okay, so now we're going to do something different. Vamos a hacer algo diferente. I am going to draw a time and I'm going to ask you qué hora es. And you're going to try to say it in Spanish, okay? Voy a dibujar una hora en español. Ustedes van a tratar de decir la hora en español. Okay? ¿Qué hora es? ¿Qué hora es? Son las 7. Excelente. Son las 7. It's 7 o'clock. Let's try another one. ¿Qué hora es? ¿Qué hora es? Es la 1:30. Muy bien. Be careful with that one. Remember the 1 o'clock. 1 o'clock is a little different than the rest of the hours. So the rest of the times. So 1 o'clock es la 1, but then it's 1:30, so I add y media. Es la 1:30. Muy bien. Let's try one more. ¿Qué hora es? ¿Qué hora es? Son las 3:30. Muy bien. It's 3:30. Son las 3:30. Excelente. And boys and girls, niños y niñas, you can try any of these activities at home. You can practice with a whiteboard, una pizarra, or you can practice with just a piece of paper. That is totally fine. You can practice with someone at home. Someone can tell you a time in English, like 5 o'clock or 7:30. You can try to say it in Spanish, okay, en español. They can draw a time and you can try to say it in Spanish or write it in Spanish. There's lots of fun ways to practice, so make sure you have fun with it. And again, use either a whiteboard or a piece of paper to draw your clock, el reloj, and have fun practicing with it, okay? One more thing I want to try with you is I'm going to draw a time and you are going to try to write it. Yo voy a dibujar una hora. Ustedes van a tratar de escribir la hora en español. Okay? So let me try. ¿Qué hora es? ¿Qué hora es? All right, so I'm going to help you with this first one. So the hour hand is pointing toward the 10 and the minute hand is pointing toward the 6. So I'm going to start with the 10. I'm going to write son las, and then I think of how I say 10, 10. Now it's 10:30, so I'm going to add that phrase y media. Okay. All right, todos. Son las 10:30. It is 10:30. Excelente. Let's try one more of those. And again, this is something you can practice at home as well. Someone at home can draw a time for you, and you can try to write the words in Spanish. ¿Qué hora es? ¿Qué hora es? Son las 2:30. Excelente. So let's see what it looks like when I write it. Son las 2:30. Son las 2:30 means it is 2:30. Oops, here we go. Son las 2:30. Son las 2:30. Muy bien. Okay. Now, something else that you can do at home to practice with your practice telling time, something really fun, algo muy divertido. You can create a clock using papers, okay, it can be a human clock, or you can just place these papers around in a circle. Okay, pueden crear un reloj humano o un reloj normal. Okay, you can just create a normal clock or a human clock if you have enough people at home. All I have are pieces of paper, hojas de papel, with the numbers 1 through 12 on them, 1 a 12. So I see I just have one number on each paper. And so again, you can either have different people hold them in a circle if you have enough people at home, or you can just place them in a circle. Now, one person is going to point to the 12, 12. Okay. The other person is going to turn around and point to different numbers. Okay. And that, for example, if the other person turns to 4, it would be 4 o'clock. And you're going to try to say, son las cuatro. Okay. Then, in the second round, you can try something else. The person that was pointing toward the 12 can now point toward the 6, seis. And the other person still turns around and chooses different numbers each time. Now you're going to be practicing times with the half hour. So if that person's pointing to the 6 the whole time, and let's say the other person turns around and points to the 9, well, it's 9:30. You're going to try to say, son las 9:30. Okay? Now, round 3, if you really want to challenge yourself, the person that was pointing to the 12 and the 6, they can switch back and forth now, okay, and try to trick you. And the other person can still turn around and point to different numbers. So if the one person's pointing to 12, 12, and the other person's pointing to 1 o'clock, or to 1, excuse me, then it's 1 o'clock, es la una. But if the one person's pointing to the 6, and the other person points to the 3, well, now it's 3:30, son las 3:30. So again, have fun with that and try to challenge yourself. You can practice with that at home. Again, you could just make your clock pages with pieces of paper and just write 1 through 1, 2, 3, and go all the way to 12, and you can create your clock that way. So another way to have fun and practice telling time at home. I hope you had fun today. I hope you have fun practicing telling the time in Spanish at home as well. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I will see you soon. Espero que tengan un día maravilloso y hasta pronto. Adiós.